This video is for cognitive psychology, sense, and perception. Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about sense and perception.
But my heart don't understand why I got you on my mind. Why I got you on my mind. Why I got you on my mind. Why I got you.
What is sense? You should talk to my mother. Did you get the job? No, Mom, I didn't get it. You ain't got no sense. Okay, no, but in all seriousness, sense is defined as the ability to detect environmental information. Perception, the book also defines as applying meaning. The book also defines it as applying meaning to encoded sensations. In my opinion, though, I think that sense and perception are not quite different. They're two sides of the same coin, so to speak. In my mind, it's impossible to actually separate them, because when you have a sense of something, you're already interpreting what it is. I don't think that you actually have time to separate and say, this is the sense and this, I don't have a feeling toward it. When we're sensing the world around us, our brain is already interpreting that information before it's given to our consciousness. The time that we receive it, we've already been developing an idea about it. And so I think, for example, if it's cold outside, well, perhaps it's cold to someone who lives in Florida when they come to Michigan and it's 40 degrees. But for someone who's a Michigander like me, 40 degrees isn't that cold. One thing I found really interesting in this section was actually about the visual impairments when they had visual agnosia. There was a man who appeared to be able to use his eyes. He could see things, but he didn't see them the way we do. He couldn't identify objects. He said that he could see colors and shapes. And so if he would look at something, let's say something that was long and silver, he would assume it was silverware, like a spoon or a fork, but he wouldn't actually know until he went up to touch it. He couldn't read out of a book. He said that the words, they basically blend into the page of the book now. And so he said whenever he thinks of books, he can remember being able to see words. But now when he opens the book, he actually doesn't see anything on the page that's noticeable to him in a way where he can actually comprehend it. I watched another video on optic ataxia, and there was a woman who was able to see objects. Her ventral pathway was fine. She could identify them. He held up a pencil and said, what is this? She said a pencil. He held up a comb. What is this? It's a comb. He was able to do depth perception tests with her. Which one is farther? Which one's closer? But then he just held up his little hammer and said, grab this. And she couldn't reach it. She went past it. And then eventually she kind of found his hand and crawled up his hand and grabbed it. I also want to talk about the visible spectrum.
Double rainbow.
I didn't know that bees could see ultraviolet light and that snakes could see infrared. But what I do know is that languages can affect your ability to see color. For example, in Asian languages like Chinese and Japanese, the color blue is actually more of a green to us Westerners. But because the first time I came here, I'm in China, the first time I came here to teach, and you ask a child, what color is this? And maybe it's like a teal or even a light green, and then they call it blue. It's what? In Japan, their stoplights to us look blue, but to them it's green. And so I pose a question, why do you think that is? Why do you think the language affects the ability for them to see colors in a different way than we do? And for those of you that get it right, there will be a $0 cash prize. Okay, see you next week. Mwah.
Double rainbow on the